Shalom. Yeah, once again, giving all praises to Yahweh,
Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kakadash.
And so, do you have anything planned? Any precepts you want to go into? Any topics? Otherwise, then we can just freestyle and go to the spirit.
This is John chapter 10, verse 24. It says, Then came the Jews round about him, and said unto him, How long dost thou make us to doubt? If thou be the Christ, tell us plainly. Yahushai answered them, I told you, and ye believe not. The works that I do in my Father's name, they bear witness of me. But ye believe not, because ye are not my sheep, as I said unto you.
Yeah, so we had people that didn't believe in the Messiah back then, and they doubted his works. And it's the same thing today, you know? You got Old Testament Israelites that don't believe in the Messiah, which is idiotic because when you read the Old Testament, it prophesies about Yahushua.
Coming to value for the book.
Exactly. And so people that don't believe in Yahushua, guess what? They're not going to make it. You got to believe in the Son and the Father. What is that, John? I'll see if I can.
Continuing on, it says, My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand.
Right.
That's okay.
Right. So if you believe in the Messiah, then you have eternal life, like it just said. Right? What you want to say?
It says, My sheep hear my voice, and this is talking about the elect.
Yep.
Again, not everybody's going to make it on this side. Continuing on, it says, And I gave unto them, it says, My Father, which gave them me, is greater than all, and no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand. I and my Father are one.
What verse you got? What chapter, what verse?
John 10 and 30. That was the point of that.
Yeah. I was thinking of John 5 and 23. You might as well read it.
This is John chapter 5, verse 23. That all men should honor the Son, even as they honor the Father. He that honoreth not the Son honoreth not the Father, which hath sent him. Verily, verily, I say unto you.
Right, so that also shows you that there's an order. You know what I'm saying? You know how the Christians believe in the Holy Trinity?
So one entity.
Yeah. So Yahushua has a God that's over it, and his name is Yahweh. You understand?
Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word and believe.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Bien.
Habla inglés.
Sí, sí hablo inglés.
All tribes of Israel.
Ah,
¿Dónde estás? I think that's how you say it. Where you from?
mi México.
Mexico?
Ella, México americana.
Oh, so you would be from the tribe of Issachar. You know that Mexicans are the Israelites, according to the Bible?
Ella me ayuda a
That's your true nationality. And even if you go online and Google it, there's relics in Mexico with Hebrew.
Guatemalense y panameños, pues. This for what? This.
We're the Israelites. We read out the Bible.
Oh.
Yeah. You're an Israelite too. You're one of us. 12 tribes of Israel. You ever read the Bible before? Well, when you read the Bible, it speaks about the 12 tribes of Israel. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Jacob had 12 sons. So the 12 sons is the tribes right here, the 12 tribes of
Oh,
Israel.
las 12 tribus de Israel.
The 12 lost tribes of Israel. So now we're found. This is the Great Awakening. We're waking up to our true nationality.
Yeah, just trying to get the message out there to our people, whoever listens.
Right. You know? If you have any questions, let us know.
Okay. Thank you.
Continue on. This is John 5:24. It says, Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word and believeth on him that sent me hath everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death unto life.
Yeah, so we would say that that's us, you know? We read the scriptures and we believe in them wholeheartedly, you know? We're not over here trying to botch and mangle the scriptures, taking something out, taking something out and replacing it with something else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, this is continue on that. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the hour is coming, and now is when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of Yahweh, and they that hear shall live.
Yeah. So Yahushua was on the scene 2,000 years ago, but he departed, right? He went on the cross. So here we are now, today. We're reading out the scriptures and we understand the scriptures. You know, we're not coming at it from a Christian standpoint, ideology, you know. We're the only ones that truly understand the scriptures.
Right? The whole truth. As far as the Father hath life in himself, so hath he given to the Son to have life in himself, and hath given him authority to execute judgment.
Let me say this too. Again, that's a cut for the Holy Trinity. That's a cut.
And hath given him authority to execute judgment, also because he is the Son of Man. Marvel not at this, for the hour is coming, in which all that are in the graves shall hear his voice, and shall come forth, they that have done good unto the resurrection of life. And they, start at 28, it's John 5:28. Marvel not at this, for the hour is coming in which all that are in the graves shall hear his voice.
So this is the time, man. The time is now. Because we didn't always know that we was Israelites. Yeah, we didn't always know that we was Israelites. You see those ladies that won't buy, you tell them that they're Israel, that they're from the tribe of Issachar, and it looked like it was going over their head. They never heard of it before, you know? So there had to come that falling away where we would fall from our identity and nationality and not know who we are. But now, we're waking up.
In the spirit.
But really it starts with the elect.
It says, and shall come forth they that have done good unto the resurrection of life, and they that have done evil unto the resurrection of damnation. I can of mine own self do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just, because I seek not mine own will.
So that's Yahushua speaking, right?
I seek not my own will, but the will of the Father which hath sent me.
Right. And Yahushua was sent by the Father to go on the cross and die for the sins of the people right here in this song.
It says, if I bear witness of myself, my witness is not true. There is another that beareth witness of me, and I know that the witness which he witnesseth of me is true. That's it.
That's it.
This is I got something. This is Ezekiel 34:12. I'll start at 11. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I, even I, will both search my sheep and seek them out, as a shepherd seeketh out his flock in the day that he is among his sheep that are scattered. So will I seek out my sheep, and will deliver them out of all places where they have been scattered in the cloudy and dark day.
So that scripture right there shows you that the Israelites are scattered. The lost 12 tribes of Israel. Alright? Throughout the four corners of the earth. So that's also indicative that you're going to have Israelites that don't even really look like they're Israelite. They might look like another nation, you know? But As long as their seed line on their father's side, right, goes back to them being Israel, then that makes them an Israelite. Flesh and blood.
Ezekiel 34 and 13 says, and I will bring them out from the people and gather them from the countries and will bring them to their own land and feed them upon the mountains of Israel by the rivers and in all the inhabited places of the country.
So my question is, when was this prophecy fulfilled?
As
Exactly. You look at the people over there in the land today. How many of them have really said that? Yeah, we got the tribe of Manasseh over here. We got Gad. We got Judah. We got Reuben. We got Levi. You know what I'm saying? They're not really naming all the 12 tribes of Israel. They're not doing that. Which lets you know that this prophecy has not been fulfilled. When has the time come when Yahweh used his son to gather up his elect? Because that's what it's going to take, right? The scriptures say that Yahweh Shai is going to come back on a cloud. Name the historic event in which that happens. It hasn't happened. Not
Michael.
Yet. Yeah, well, Michael. Where's Michael?
I'm going to jump down to the 16th verse.
Where's Michael?
This is Ezekiel 34 and 16. I will seek that which was lost and bring again that which was driven away. And I will bind.
Read that again.
I will seek that which was lost and bring again that which was driven away.
Remember, Yahweh Shai said that he was not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So they was lost then, we were lost then, and we're lost today. The reason why they was lost back then is because they were Hellenized. You have to take into account the Greek captivity with Antiochus, where he made the Israelites eat pork. He made them not even claim that they were Israelites. They couldn't even call themselves Israelites, or else they would be put to death. And so, fast forward, you got the triangular slave trade. They pretty much beat out the history of us being who we are. They beat it out of us, man. Why do you think they split up families? They taught us English. We couldn't read Bibles. We couldn't even read. Why do you think they didn't teach us how to read?
It's generation, like generation to generation. You just lose your true nationality more and more as time goes on.
When Esau does that to a people, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen?
It started with just the people who started serving in that captivity. They still knew, but as they had children, the children, they probably knew a little bit, and as they had children, it was completely forgotten. And just as time went on,
Yeah, and this was over the course of hundreds of years.
Right. Again, it says, I will seek, this is Ezekiel 34 and 16.
Not to mention, he was feeding you Christianity.
Right. It says, I will
Telling
seek.
you that that's the truth. That's the way to go.
Yeah, he gave you something else.
Exactly.
He rocked you to sleep, really, when you think about it. It says, I will seek that which was lost and bring again that which was driven away.
Might I also add that there was a slave Bible. Remember that movie with Will Smith?
Yeah.
What's the name of it again?
Emancipation.
Emancipation. Which that was the history behind that famous picture of that slave with the whip scars on his back. That was that movie.
I never knew he was a Levite.
And then remember, yeah, I didn't know that either. And then remember, they was reading out the Bible, and they was bringing out slave scriptures, trying to apply it to that time. Right? Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even and it shows you that Christianity is bullshit, because like the opening of the movie, you seen Jake reading the scriptures. It was Jake reading it.
Yeah, I forget what scripture it was.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. But it was like, see, that just shows you right there, Christianity.
Basically, like, I think if I remember correctly, basically you gotta obey your master.
Right.
Be a good slave.
Right. And they had Jake reading it. Just like how Pastor up there reading it today.
While they're working hard in the damn swamps or in the field.
Bro, you Christians,
that's stressful.
Yeah. That's why you Christians ain't gonna make it.
Yeah, why would you hold on to an ideology that was literally forced on you in slavery? Why would you do that?
Continue on.
And then you go up in these churches, you know what they're doing? They playing songs, they playing music, they singing.
Yeah, praise dance.
They're playing the guitar. They rocking with the drums.
I'm telling you, the whole time, I remember going to church, you might hear 2 to 3 scriptures the whole 3 hours you're there. And then they breaking them down wrong.
Yeah. So what is that doing for you? What is the results that you're getting?
That shit is nothing but entertainment. Somewhere to just get dressed in the morning, put on your Sunday best.
Get that scripture where it says, speak unto us small things. Because these Christians, these churches, man, they don't got it. They just don't have it. Like I said, what is the results that we're getting as a people? What do you want to teach us that prosperity doctrine?
This is Isaiah chapter 30, verse 10. I'll start at 9. That this is a rebellious people, lying children,
A rebellious people, lying children.
children that will not hear the law of the Lord,
They don't want to hear the Bible.
which say to the seers,
Not in its entirety, not in its sincerity.
which say to the seers, see not,
The seer is a prophet. We're the prophets, man.
and to the prophets prophesy not unto us right things, and speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceits.
Right. Speak unto us small things. Meaning, tell them what they want to hear. Because that's exactly what these churches do. Yeah, you're going to have a nice year. It's going to be a good year. You're going to be blessed.
It's 2014, the year of the double blessing.
Your son's going to go to college. He's going to graduate. And he's going to come out debt-free now. Because of Biden.
Yeah, right.
You heard about that?
Yeah.
You know that actually worked for some people.
Did it?
Yeah.
Not nobody I know.
He's going to get a good job. He's going to find a wife in the church.
But get you out of the way. Turn aside out of the path. Cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. Wherefore thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because ye despise this word, and trust in oppression and perverseness, and stay thereon. Therefore this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant. Let's sit on that.
Yep. Go back to where you was at.
There's Ezekiel 34 and 16. It says, I will seek that which was lost and bring again that which was driven away, and will bind up that which was broken, and will strengthen that which was sick. But I will destroy the fat and the strong. I will feed them with judgment. And as for you, O my flock, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I judge between cattle and cattle, between the rams and the goats, and the he goats. Seemeth it a small thing unto you to have eaten up the good pasture, but ye must tread down with your feet the residue of your pasture, and to have drunk of the deep waters, but ye must foul the residue with your feet. That's it.
So again, man, like we were saying, the Israelites are scattered.
I got another scripture.
Yeah. Imagine being driven out of your homeland. You lose the thought of your nationality, the true nationality. You know what that does to a people? Shoot, we're the result of that. We're living proof. Why do you think that when you look at Jake, he's not doing it all too great, especially from a community standpoint? All up in the hood, all up in the ghettos, strung out on drugs, alcoholism, split up families,
Gangbanging.
split up families, and they say that statistically, children turn out better when they have the family structure of
Two-parent household.
of the two-parent household. And when it's not that case, then they're more likely to end up incarcerated in the system, which that's a money-making system right there, man. That's a way to make money.
School to prison pipeline. without both parents in the household, the child doesn't have an equal balance. That's why these kids that's raised by their mothers, they're so effeminate and emotional.
They go over the top. They're easily influenced. That's why you need to
Yeah.
don't deny that.
This is Psalms 44:9. But thou hast cast off and put us to shame, and goest not forth with our enemies. Thou makest us to turn back from the enemies, and they which hate us spoil for themselves. Thou hast given us like sheep appointed for meat, and hast scattered us among the heathen. Thou sellest thy people for naught, and dost not increase thy wealth by their price. Thou makest us a reproach to our neighbor, a scorn and a derision to them that are round about us.
Right. And so, Jake, he's turned into another statistic in his community. And you consider that's because of Esau, putting us in these bad predicaments,
Right.
I was thinking about this. How was it that they promised us? They promised us reparations, but they never gave it to us. You know what I'm saying? They just freed us after slavery, and then we just had to make good with what we had. You know?
Right.
But true reparations is when we get in the kingdom.
We got them in chains.
Exactly.
Two wrongs don't make it right. Yeah, but it makes it equal.
So we was never really given a fair shake. So how could you really expect us to be a prosperous people in this current situation?
Right.
Especially when you take into account that we under the curses. Ain't no jig getting up under these curses, man. Until Yahweh Shai comes. I mean, that's the only way.
I'm going to read this again. This is Psalms 44:14. It says, Thou makest us a byword among the heathen. Oh, wait, no. Let's start at 13. It's Psalms 44:13. Thou makest us a reproach to our neighbors, and a scorn and a derision to them that are round about us. Thou makest us a byword among the heathen, a shaking of the heed among the people. So, yeah, like you said, we're under these curses, so we're really not in a good position. Like Jake as a whole, like if you just look out into the world, they're really in a bad state. So the people, the other nations, they look at us and ridicule us. It's like how you have other nations that come here and they make good, and then they look at Jake and they be like, we just got here. Y'all been here all this time and y'all can't get it together?
They'd be like, pull yourself up by your bootstrap.
Right. But it's the curses.
You couldn't even if you wanted to.
The Psalms 44:15 says, My confusion is continually before me, and the shame of my face hath covered me. For the voice of him that reproacheth and blasphemeth by reason of the enemy and avenger. All this is come upon us, yet have we not forgotten thee, neither have we dealt falsely in thy covenant. Our heart is not turned back, neither have our steps declined from thy way. Though thou hast sore broken us in the place of dragons, and covered us with the shadow of death, if we have forgotten the name of our power, or stretched out our hands to a strange God, shall not Yahweh search this out?
Yeah, so that's what happened to us. We went off and started worshiping other gods, following different ideologies. And that's not really a prosperous thing for us to have done. And then we still do as a people.
And still praising Jesus Christ.
Or, calling on Allah.
Right.
We got a lot of jakes that go to jail, they come home, they Muslim. They be like, yo, they start speaking that Aramaic, they start reciting it, they might even have proof, if they're super duper Muslim.
Right. Praying how many times a day? How many times they gotta pray a day?
Yeah, they pull out their robes, the prayer mat. Which where in the scriptures does it say you gotta have a mat to pray? So these other ideologies, they don't do us any good.
Yeah, they're not profitable at the end of the day. It says, this is Psalm 44:20. Because if we have forgotten the name of our power, or stretched out our hands to a strange God, shall not Yahweh search this out? For he knoweth the secrets of the heart. Ye for thy sake are we killed all the day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter.
Yep. And when Yahweh Shai comes back, what do you think is going to happen to the 2/3? You know, those of them that don't get right and can't get right, what do you think is going to happen to them? They're just going to get caught up in the fire.
Right.
It is what it is.
Only a few more verses, I'll finish this out. It says, ye for thy sakes are, it says, awake, why sleepest thou? This is Psalms 44 and 23. It says, awake, why sleepest thou, O Lord? Arise, cast us not off forever. Wherefore hidest thou thy face, and forgettest our affliction and our oppression? For our soul is bowed down to the dust, our belly cleaveth unto the earth. Arise for our help, and redeem us for thy mercy's sake.
Right. That's what we're doing, man.
Right.
We can't wait to get up out of here. We think about it every day. Not a day that don't go by.
Right. We pray the Lord has mercy on us.
Right. Remember I was telling you, I had an epiphany. I don't know if they're gonna start pulling out the Quran next year. I don't really think so. What do you think?
I don't think so. I think maybe by the end of 2024 they'll start implementing it, but it won't be mandatory until maybe like later on, 2025.
Yeah, because you got to give it time to develop.
Yeah.
2024, it just seems too soon.
Yeah.
As much as we would like it to be fulfilled, it just seems too soon.
Yeah, it's got to be like a certain, like, you know, it's just, they got to slow roll it, you know?
So maybe 2025,
Lord's will.
2026.
This is Matthew chapter 9, I'll start at verse 35. It says, and Yahweh Shai went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom, and healing every sickness and every disease among the people.
So he was doing that, and you still had non-believers, which shows you that those people that were in the scene back then and back on the scene today, no matter what we do, we could break down the scriptures to somebody playing this day, and it just still won't resonate.
Yeah.
They still won't follow what we're saying.
Can't teach the Holy Spirit.
Exactly. You either have it or you don't.
It says, but when he saw the multitudes, he was moved with compassion on them, because they fainted and were scattered abroad as sheep having no shepherd.
Imagine witnessing Yahweh Shai displaying his spiritual power. You might even hear rumors about it from a different location. You might try to find out if it's true. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was actually miracles being performed that day, but it wasn't enough. Again, that shows you that you cannot teach the Holy Spirit. Not everybody's meant to get it.
Everyone has faith.
What is that? Romans
11 and 7.
Yeah, Romans 11 and 7. Finish that and you can read Romans 11 and 7.
It says, then saith he unto his disciples, the harvest truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few.
The harvest is plenty because there is much to reap from doing this work, being in this truth. You know, this truth really helps sustain us on a day-to-day basis. It helps keeps us, you know, balanced. All right, because we understand why we're going through what we're going through. You know, we can go into the reasons why,
Right.
and then we can also see into the future. We know that the kingdom is coming. We're not going to be on the bottom forever and ever.
It even shows you how to deal with people. Like somebody will just vex you. Like Jake will just have you vex, but then you just have, it's like you have mercy on them. It's like you just going through it too. So you can't even really get mad, you know.
And if you're really nice with it, it'll teach you how to deal with women.
Yeah, that as well. It says, "Pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest."
Because Jake, he's always, thinking of like, having camaraderie. He's always thinking of having that camaraderie with a woman, having that solid relationship, chasing it. So much so that they'll even overlook their own personal goals. What's best for them.
Start simple.
Yeah, start being a simple. So you can't really be concerned about women these days, man. They're not in their right mind anyway.
This is Matthew 9:38. It says, "Pray ye therefore."
That's why we cultivate this truth.
Yeah, it's better than just, keep your heart on the scriptures, You can't lose like this.
But if you do deal with a woman, deal with them accordingly. I'm not saying you can't or you shouldn't deal with a woman. But if you do, like I said, just know how to maneuver.
This is Matthew chapter 9, verse 38. It says, "Pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest, that he will send forth laborers into his harvest." That's it.
Yeah, so there's not that many laborers.
Like Zahar said, he's like, there should be a camp on every corner. But we know that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, we know that that's unrealistic. But, yeah, there should be.
I'll start at 6. This is Romans 11:6. "And if by grace, then is it no more works, otherwise grace is no more grace. But if it be of works, then is it no more grace, otherwise work is no more work."
Where you at?
Romans 11:6. This is Romans 11:7. "What then Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded."
The election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded.
I feel like we read this every week.
I mean, it really brings out the point to why people can't see what we're bringing out.
Yeah. So according as it is written, Yahweh hath given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, the ears that they should not hear, unto this day. And David saith, "Let their table be made a snare, and a trap, and a stumbling block, and a recompense unto them."
Right, so the table, you can say that is the scriptures, because this is like a spiritual, meal that we're getting, we're dishing out. And, Jake's looking at it like, man, this ain't beneficial for me, When in reality it is.
It says, "Let their eyes be darkened, and they may not see, and bow down their back all way. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid. But rather through their false salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy. Now if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnified mine office."
Right, so that's the Gentiles is the Israelites. That's who Paul is speaking to, Because remember you said earlier how you had Jakes that were Hellenized during the Greek captivity, right? And so Paul had to bring them back into the fold, telling them that they're Israelites, teaching them about the laws, But not forcing the law, because when somebody's new to this thing, you can't just tell them, all right, now that you know you're Israelite, you gotta start wearing fringes, you gotta start keeping the Sabbath,
You gotta keep the Passover.
oh, the Passover is next month. What's up with you? What you gonna do? You know what I'm saying?
Alright.
You can't just force that. It's a slow process. You have to let them grow, build. Otherwise, then they'll just turn them off.
Right, but on the other end of that, we ain't got much time left. You know, so you can't be taking, oh, all right, I'm not going to go out to the highways and byways for another 2 years. I'm going to study up some more. You don't got that kind of time. So, you know, you got to have a good balance. You don't got to just jump into it head first, but be diligent and build yourself up.
I thought I knew the scriptures when I was a few months in.
Yes, but there's certain things, you know, there's certain little things.
Yeah.
Like the Gentiles, you know, you might get confused by that at first, but there's little things that might stumble you.
Yeah. That's why it's good to like be surrounded by the right people.
Yeah.
You know, be guided by the right people. You know, be in the right circle, because then it'll help build you up in the spirit.
Right. I'm gonna jump down to the 15th verse. This is Romans 11 and 15. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead? For if the first fruits be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou being a wild olive tree,
I'm speaking about the Israelites.
wert graft in among them, and with them partakest of the root and fatness of the olive tree, boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee. Thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off, that I might be grafted in. Well, because of unbelief they were broken off, and thou standest by faith. Be not high-minded, but fear. For if Yahweh spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not thee.
So just because you're an Israelite in a Gentile state of mind doesn't demean the fact that you are an Israelite. You know, your seed line goes back to the 12 tribes of Israel, whichever tribe it may be. You know.
That's it on that.
What else you got?
Second Ezra chapter 7, verse 42. I should start at 41.
It's chilly out
It says, even so, now, seeing corruption is grown up, and wickedness increased, and the righteous have prayed for the ungodly, wherefore shall it not be so now also? He answered me and said, this present life is not the end. It says, this present life is not the end.
Yeah, some people think that this is the end of the road. 100 years can go by and we still gonna be here. We still gonna be in this land, right? They think they're gonna have grandchildren, this, that, and the third. But really, the kingdom is on its way.
It says, he answered me and said, this present life is not the end, where much glory doth abide. Therefore have they prayed for the weak. But the day of doom shall be the end of this time,
Day of doom, man.
and the beginning of the immortality for to come, wherein corruption is past. Intemperance is at an end. Infidelity is cut off. Righteousness is grown, and the truth is sprung up.
Yeah, so temperance means that you lack that patience, you know? You lack that self-control. And it said infidelity. So, I mean, you can take a look around in the society. You know, adultery goes on left and right, you know? Technically, when a woman goes from one man to another, she committed adultery.
Yeah.
Really. And so, imagine living in a world where you have your wife and she's pure, so to say. You know, she's never been touched by another man. You know, that's going to be the kingdom. Because I can imagine that there's going to be arranged marriages coming back.
Right.
You know, this brother's going to set aside his daughter for this brother when the time is right. You know, and that's the way it's going to be. Ain't going to be no dating games going on, dating apps in the kingdom. Can you imagine that? So the scriptures also say, might I add, that the glory of a man is woman. We cannot really say that with words.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the game that we're left to play. You see what that DC young fly is, woman. You know, she went outside trying to impress the masses.
It's like you got your man.
Yeah,
He's happy enough to deal with you.
Yeah, so what do you need all that extra stuff for? You know, why do you want that? It's because you're easily influenced, and you're trying to keep up with the rest of these other fake women.
She was a wild and out girl, so
Yeah, it's like,
yeah,
what do you expect?
didn't really expect much.
I bet you we paid for the survey.
It's like
So you can just imagine how he's feeling right now.
Second Ezra chapter 7 verse 45.
This type of shit wouldn't happen if you just followed the scriptures.
Right. Second Ezra 7 and 45 says, then shall no man be able to save him that is destroyed, nor to oppress him that hath gotten the victory. I answered then and said, this is my first and last saying, that it had been better not to have given the earth unto Adam, or else when it was given him, to have restrained him from sinning.
So you know what they say? Hindsight is always 20/20. Because the result of Adam sinning, following after Eve, is us being in this predicament today. That's how it all started in Genesis. Doesn't Genesis mean the beginning? And so that's what Ezra is saying. But you know, that's wishful thinking what he's saying, you know? Like he's saying he wished that it would have never happened, but it did.
It says, for what profit is it for men now in this present time to live in heaviness, and after death to look for punishment?
Yeah, after death to look for punishment. Which shows you that he knew about reincarnation.
Right.
It ain't talking about, when you die, if you're a bad person, going to hell.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
It says, O thou Adam,
Read that part again.
2 Ezra 7 and 47 says, for what profit is it for men now in this present time to live in heaviness?
Yeah, because we going through it, man. Jake's catching hell in this system, in this society. And it's only going to get worse. Wait until the time of Jacob's children.
It says, and after death to look for punishment. O thou Adam, what hast thou done?
Yeah, because when you die, imagine it was 200 years ago, 300 years ago. And like, let's say that you knew the truth, right? You're like, man, when you reading the scriptures, you actually know the prophecy. Man, be sure you got a ways to go. Ain't no Quran man in sight.
Right.
Imagine that. You wouldn't even know what the Quran man is. It's just too far for you to understand.
Your brain couldn't even try to conceptualize it.
Like even back in the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, like, you know, you had the One West, the original One West. Even they was reading it, they didn't really understand it, you know. But the apostles, the elders, they said that they knew. You know, Apostle Tari said he always knew what it was. The spirit deep down, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, imagine being in that time where it's like you just came to get the fuck out of here, man. You might not even be so much so, you know, looking forward to that prophecy, even though that prophecy has to be fulfilled before we get out of here.
Right. Second Ezra 7.
I remember that the elders, they were saying, Apostle Tar, he said, because of the year 2000 thing happens, and he was saying prior to it happening, he said, yeah, we're not going to get out of here. We're not going to be out of here in 2000. Why? It's because there's more prophecies that has to come to pass.
Right.
And that was well over 20 years ago. And so look at us now. We can actually see the technology that's being set up in place for that prophecy to come to pass.
Right. It's already here.
Yeah. The infrastructure, everything. It's just a matter of when they roll it out. We're really close.
We're at the doorstep. It's 2 Ezra 7 and 48. says, O thou Adam, what hast thou done? For though it was for though it was thou that sinned, thou art not fallen alone, but we all that come of thee.
Yeah, one for all. One for all. You know I like saying that. But we all had to pay for the sins of our forefathers. You know?
It says, for what profit is it unto us if there be promised us an immortal time?
And could you imagine the scenario in the kingdom where Jake is still going on and we gotta pay for that bullshit? You know? The Most High is gonna rise up the Edomites again or another nation, and that's when you gotta go to war and we lose. Could you imagine that?
No, that would defeat the whole purpose of the kingdom. That's why it just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't line up with prophecy. And so that's why we have to come under the new covenant in the kingdom. We're not under it now, not yet. Because when we're under the new covenant, that's when we get our new bodies and we're not going to sin anymore.
Right. We won't know. It won't be in us to sin.
Yeah. Like a woman's going to actually behave like a woman in the kingdom.
Right. You ain't gonna have no brother in the kingdom looking at giving your woman the eye.
Yes, yeah. Committing adultery. You know?
Start 49. It says, for what profit is it unto us if there be promised us an immortal time, whereas we have done the works that bring death, and that there is promised us an everlasting hope, whereas ourselves being most wicked are made vain, and that there are laid up for us dwellings of health and safety, whereas we have lived wickedly, and that the glory of the Most High is kept to defend them which have led a weary life, whereas we have walked in the most wicked ways of all, and that there should be showed a paradise whose fruit endureth forever, wherein is security and medicine, since we shall not enter into it. I'll stop right there. I can really read this all day.
Sure.
Yeah, that's it. I keep going.
Like you got something else? So we can't wait for the kingdom, man. It's right around the corner.
This is 1 Corinthians 2 and 9. It says, but as it is written, eye hath not seen nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which Yahweh hath prepared for them that love him. But Yahweh hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit. For the Spirit searcheth all things, even the deep things of Yahweh.
Where you reading from? What chapter, what verse?
1 Corinthians 2 and 10.
Alright, so do we have the truth? Do we have 100% truth? Yeah. Yes, we do. Because the Spirit showed us all things, right? Now, there might be some things that might be a mystery, like the tribe of Dan, you know? Dan's not on the 12 tribes chart. Dan's not mentioned in the book of Revelation 21, chapter 21.
We know all things that have to do with salvation. We can't tell you what color the chariots is and all that, how many seats are on it, but we know.
We could tell you.
Well, yeah, you know, white. You know, you have an idea, but
like so.
Yeah, we don't know how many seats are on it. We don't know how many windows. We can't tell you to know the simple stuff like that. But we can tell you know that there are chariots, and that's what matters.
We can't tell you the weight of them, how much they weigh.
It's 1 Corinthians 2 and 12. It says, now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the spirit which is of Yahweh.
So we got our mind set on stuff that actually matters.
It says that we might know the things that are freely given to us of Yahweh, which things also we speak not in the words which man's wisdom teacheth, but which the Holy Spirit teacheth, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. Again, you can't teach the Holy Spirit.
You need the Holy Spirit to understand the scriptures.
It says, But the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of Yahweh, for they are foolishness unto him. Neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned.
Yeah, because they're dead from the neck up, right? They don't have the spirit. They're alive, they're breathing. It's like, are they really just out here wandering? Or are they in the truth? Obviously, they're just out here,
It's foolishness to them. You tell them there's gonna be a great chariot, there's gonna be a big chariot that's gonna come, it's gonna beam up his elect from all across the world. That might be far-fetched to them. They're gonna be looking at you like you crazy.
Like, yo, is he on drugs?
Okay, then. And just keep walking down the street.
They be like, yo, they bugged out. They might think we're worse than Christians.
It says, but he that is spiritual judges all things, yet he himself is judged of no man. For who hath known the mind of the Lord, that he may instruct him? But we have the mind of Yahushua.
The mind of Yahweh. Scriptures also say, what is it, Revelation 19? You want to read that?
Revelation 19. This is Revelation chapter 19, verse 10. It says, and I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua.
So the angels are our brothers.
Worship Yahweh.
Worship the Most High, Yahweh, who the world, refers to as God, ignorantly.
Says, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy.
Right. So the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. So that's what we're occupied in. We're looking for prophecies to come to pass. We're measuring the times that we're living in. Anybody that's not doing that ain't in their right mind.
This is John chapter 15, verse 15. It says, henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth. But I have called you friends, for all things that I have heard of my Father I have made known unto you. Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you, and ordained you, that ye should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain.
Yeah, bring forth fruits, which is poetic, for bringing in new people to this truth, and if they stand the test of time, then you get a reward. Even if they don't, you still get a reward because you put in work, you labor. That's all Yahweh Shai is saying, What does the scripture say? If you love me, feed
my sheep.
Yeah, feed my lambs, my sheep.
So ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you, and ordained you, that ye should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatsoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it you. These things I command you, that ye love one another.
Right, and we may not even see the rewards for our works right now or in this side. But assuming we're of the elect, you better believe we're gonna get a reward for our labor. The scriptures speak about a reward. Ecclesiastes 4 and 9.
This is Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9. It says, two are better than one, because because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up.
Right. Remember what I was saying earlier? It's good to have yourself good people that you surround yourself with.
Right.
It helps you.
Yeah, what's that scripture? A brother was made for a day of adversity, or a time of adversity. That's how it goes. It says again, if two lie together, then they have heat. But how can one be warm alone? And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him. And threefold cord is not quickly broken. Better is a poor and a wise child than an old and foolish king, who will no more be admonished. For out of prison he cometh to reign, whereas also he that is born in his kingdom becometh poor. I consider all the living which walk under the sun with the second child that shall stand up in his stead. There is no end of all the people, even of all that have been before them. That shows you Esau's still here too. That's a cut to that. It says, they also that come after shall not rejoice in him. Surely this also is vanity and vexation of spirit. That's it.
Get ready to close.
Now we read that one earlier. Didn't we? Nah, we didn't read this already. This is John 3, and we'll start at 10. Yahushua answered and said unto him, Art thou a master of Israel, and knowest not these things? Verily, verily, I say unto thee, we speak that we do know, and testify that we have seen, and ye receive not our witness.
Yeah, so we speak on the things that we know intelligently. We don't just be out here winging it, you know?
Right. If I have told you earthly things, and ye believe not, how shall ye believe if I tell you of heavenly things?
Whoa, so the stuff that tells you, the stuff that the Lord tells you, concerning, the earth goes over your head, and how are you going to understand a higher level of that?
Right. Spiritual things.
Yeah, the spiritual things.
It says, and no man hath ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even the Son of Man which is in heaven. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whatsoever believeth in him should not perish, but have eternal life.
Yeah, because when you read about the serpent in the Old Testament, the Israelites were getting bitten by them snakes. And so Moses, he made a brass serpent. And then that's when they stopped getting bit, right? And so the Yahushua is likened unto that serpent back then. Because if you believe in the Son, as you believe in the Father, then you're going to end up prospering at the end of the day. You can't have one without the other.
John 3:16 says, For Yahweh so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whatsoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For Yahweh sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved.
And that world they're speaking about is the world of Israel. Do me a favor, look up that word world right there.
Cosmos. Yeah. Cosmos, world, universe, circle of earth, inhabitants of earth. 19 now. It says, he that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of Yahweh. And this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil.
Yeah. So this truth is like light. You know, it's a breath of fresh air. And a lot of people, they just don't want it. They can't get it. They rather hold on to darkness. They rather be in the dark. Whether it be the cares of this world, you know, chasing after riches.
Babylon got a tight grip on these people.
Yeah. This is a place of confusion.
Let's read these last two. So as for everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in Yahweh. And that's it on that.
Alright, so with that, we're going to wrap it up. Shalom.
Shalom.